Assalamualaikum and konnichiwa to our beloved lecturer, CT Sensei, and our fellow classmates. Today, we will be presenting about Kaizen costing. Before we proceed with this presentation, we will like all of you to watch a very interesting video about Kaizen first. どうぞ。
Achieving your biggest goals using the Kaizen philosophy. John is struggling with conversations. He attended a dinner party at his friend's house, and as the drinks kept flowing, the discussion became more heated. However, John has been unable to contribute any more than a few words because he did not have anything to say. He is very proud of his intellectual prowess and ability to trump arguments, and so today left his ego pretty bruised. So, John has decided to reintroduce the habit of reading. He used to be aware of all current events, but the day's discussion left him wondering what rock he has been living under lately. In today's video, we're talking about Kaizen, the Japanese philosophy that means to become good through change. Contrary to what is peddled, overnight success only happens when you win the lottery. Realizing your goals, if they aren't lottery-related, takes time and continuous improvement. The question we answer today is, how can you achieve massive goals using the Kaizen approach? The Kaizen approach. How old are you? Are you an employee struggling to get to that next promotion? Is it your final year in university and you're hoping and working hard for a fulfilling career ahead? Or maybe you've just had your first child and are already thinking of a college fund for him or her. The Kaizen approach starts when you answer the question, what are your goals? A teenager's goal could be to go to Harvard University, since he or she wants to be a big shot lawyer. For you, financial freedom at 40 years of age is the dream. The goal of a 9-month-old baby could be to stand on their own 2 feet without their parents' help. A goal defines a point in the future that you in the present would like to achieve. The next step is to create a system through which you will be able to achieve this goal. John wants to get back to his old argumentative self, in his ideal future, his friends listening to him in awe because of the points he contributes to discussions. The difference John has to cater for is knowledge on everything that is happening currently. For this video, a system is defined as the combination of behaviors that are done regularly and feed into a goal. Thus, John has therefore developed a system of reading books on current issues to achieve his objective. After World War II, Kaizen was developed in a bid to eliminate waste and increase efficiency in industrial processes. This was done by introducing small, positive changes into these processes to lead to an eventual increase in quality of the products. A system for achieving a goal is the equivalent of an industrial process. For John to utilize this philosophy, he needs to break down his system of reading books on current events into its smallest form, reading 2 pages every day. Reading 2 pages of a book a day will encounter the least resistance from John as compared to 20 pages of the same. Positive changes are then introduced to this system. On the first day, John reads 2 pages. On the third day, he scales it up to 4 pages and to 5 on the 7th day. This system is improved daily until it becomes a habit that will lead to the achievement of the goal. Procrastination and an inability to achieve goals arise when you are so entirely focused on the goal that you forget the process of getting there. Comparing the small progress we are making and the massive goal that is ahead of us may trick our brain into thinking that we aren't doing anything or getting anywhere. Kaizen understands that eventual gains arise from systems, and by improving how we use our time, effort, and smarts in the process, we will get our desired results. If the story of the hare and the tortoise is anything to go by, slow and steady does win the race. What about when you are backtracking? Kaizen works on improving systems that are already in place or have been introduced. It is for this reason that it has contributed to the success of companies like Toyota and Canon. However, it becomes a little tricky when the philosophy is used by human beings because of our emotional nature. What happens when we are no longer energetic, ambitious, and excited about our new goals? Is Kaizen useful when you are down, lethargic, or when you simply revert to your old habits? It is important to understand that this philosophy is about eventual positive improvement and the development of good habits. Developing a habit is like building muscle from working out over a period. When you miss strength training for 3 sessions, the muscle you built over 6 months is unlikely to dissipate into thin air. If you're going through a rough patch, don't be frustrated and give up. For a while now, Brian has been failing at his goal of sleeping for at least 7 hours a night. When you look closely, however, you will note 3 years ago, he was sleeping for barely 3 hours every day. Currently, he sleeps for between 4 and 5 hours a night. While he may not have achieved his ultimate goal, the progress he has made is undeniable. And that is the greatest strength that the philosophy of Kaizen has: constant progress. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video, and all the best as you make those small steps to your ideal future self.
Kaizen's objective is to improve productivity, reduce unnecessary hard work, and humanize the workplace. Kaizen's philosophy empowers everyone in the organization, not 1% or 10%, but everyone in the organization to assume responsibility for their processes and improve them. Kaizen is defined as continuous improvement in quality, technology, processes, company culture, productivity, safety, and leadership. The word Kaizen came from Japan after World War II. The word Kai stands for change, and the word Zen stands for good. So it basically means good change. But for it to be easier to be understood, the Americans changed the word's definition to continuous improvement. After World War II, Toyota was struggling in their business. So to improve their business, they sent a team to America to study from the company that was in the same industry, automobile industry, that is Ford. After the team had learned the ways of Ford, they discovered that for Toyota to actually apply the system that they had used, they would need a lot of resources. And at that time, it was impossible to get a lot of resources. But luckily, they found a convenience store in America that was so small and it was very efficient in managing their inventory. And this would lead to the glimpse of Kaizen. So in 1950, Toyota introduced Toyota Production System. It's basically like Kaizen, but the name was not Kaizen back then. It was a system that wanted to improve productivity, reduce waste, and believed that this would lead to maximize profit. So in 1986, one of the workers from the team, that was Imai Masaaki, founded KICG, Kaizen Institute Consulting Group. And KICG would introduce the ways and tools of Kaizen. At the same time, the Kaizen Institute introduced lean methodology. The reason it was called lean because it is so efficient, like a muscle that has no fat. And they also introduced Kaizen seminars and training to other sectors throughout the world. This is because Imai Masaaki believed that Kaizen could not only be applied in automobile industry, but also could be applied to all sorts of industries, not just manufacturing. And further in time, Imai Masaaki published 2 books. One was Kaizen, the Japanese spirit of improvement, and the second book is Gemba Kaizen, a common sense, low-cost approach to management. And this was a very big success. So, now that you already know the history of Kaizen, I think you should also know the 3 key definitions of Kaizen. The first key definition is visual management. Visual management is a lean management technique that is used to help employees understand the work process better. Because in the concept of Kaizen, there is no such thing as only the upper management should understand the whole work process. By making everyone in the organizations, including normal employees, to understand the whole work process, this could lead to more efficiency and new ideas. And the second key definition is JIT, just in time. And I think all of you have heard at least once JIT. JIT is the lean inventory management strategy that is used by organizations to boost the efficiency of the inventory management. By using JIT, organizations could reduce storage costs that is very unnecessary sometimes applied in the company because of not efficient inventory management. And the third key definition is the 5S framework. The 5S framework is a workstation organization technique that uses a list of Japanese words, or I should say Chinese character, that is seiri, seiton, seiso, seiketsu, shitsuke. I would love to explain these 5 words, but it will be explained later in this presentation. Now you know the history of Kaizen, the key definitions of Kaizen. So I think you should know one more thing. 5 more things. The principle of Kaizen. There are 5 principles of Kaizen. The first principle is teamwork. I know that this is a very common thing, but teamwork, or should I say, to work in a team or help each other, is a very important point or principle. And the second principle is personal discipline. You have to be disciplined in every aspect, including time management and resources management. I know we Malays have a problem with time management, but we should try to manage our time better. And I know it is hard to be disciplined all the time. Sometimes we have times that we are lazy and we don't want to be disciplined. So to keep being disciplined or motivated, we have to have a motivated morale. Which leads us to the third point, improved morale. So improved morale is implementing good attitude to maintain a good working environment. Because with a good attitude, if everybody around me has a good attitude, of course it would be a very good working environment. It would be very positive energy. You will have positive energy all the time. The fourth principle is quality circle. It is to give opportunity to employees to interact with quality circle. Quality circle means basically like a good team or good environment. So when one of the employees interact with a quality circle, he himself or she herself could improve their work ethics or many things if being in a quality circle. Like for example, if you hang out with people who are into fitness, and naturally you yourself will be health conscious. Maybe it takes time, but because of that interaction, you could be health conscious too, because of the circle that you are in. So quality circle is very important. And the fifth principle is suggestion for improvement. An organization should give anybody in the organization, including normal employees, to have the opportunity to give suggestions. And the upper management should be more open to those kind of suggestions. In Japan, there are many cases where normal employees give suggestion and that suggestion lead to a bigger success than any other idea. For example, in QP, if you know QP, that is a mayonnaise company in Japan, there are many products that came from idea of normal employees but now are a very huge success, including in Malaysia and internationally. So the last principle, open suggestion suggestion for improvement, is very important too.
Thank you, Adam. I will continue with the pillars of Kaizen. Kaizen is based on 3 pillars, which are housekeeping, mudah elimination or waste elimination, and standardization. First pillar, housekeeping. Housekeeping is the process of managing Gemba or workplace to foster continuous improvement. Gemba means actual or real place where the value is added to a product or service before passing it to the next stage. Second pillars, waste or mudah elimination, which means lean management hold that resource in a process either add or do not add value to the product or service being processed. Kaizen seeks to improve business process to eliminate the 7 types of waste as identified in lean management. Third pillar, standardization, means developing standards of which production must be performed. I will explain further these 3 pillars in the next slide. Pillar 1, housekeeping. For a proper housekeeping, the 5S framework is used. So, what is 5S? 5S is derived from the first letter of 5 Japanese words, which are seri, seton, seso, seketsu, and shitsuke. These 5 words known as 5 practices that lead to a manageable and clean workstation. This is a method of developing culture that maintain a clean, neat, and efficient workplace. There are benefits of using 5S in a Kaizen organization, such as improve workplace safety, eliminate distraction, enhance teamwork, improve productivity, and enhance self-management. What is seri mean? Seri means sort. Its focus is to eliminate the unnecessary item from the workplace. It means you remove anything, both materials and tools, that is not needed in the workplace for current process. Red tagging is used to the item which are unnecessary. The item that want to be used are moved to a more organized storage area. Items which are unnecessary are disposed. Second S is seton, which means set in order. It focuses on effective storage and segregations of things. It is setting up the workplace so that tools and materials are easy to find, use, and put back. The activities included in these steps are labeling each item, use color for quick identification, store similar items together, putting names and number on it, and use rack or shelf for tools and materials. Next, seso means shine. It focuses on cleaning. Daily cleanliness is a must to have a better work area. This step requires management to ensure that dirt, dust, and stain are removed from workplace. Clean and organized work area act itself as motivation factor for the employees. Every employee enjoy their work in a clean and healthy environment, which raises confidence. The fourth S is Seketsu or standardized. The high standard of workplace organization can be ensured by standardization. In short, make the first 3 steps of the 5S framework Seton, and SESO an easy routine in the organization to develop the standard. The last S is Shitsuke or sustain, means standard must be maintained year after year in an effective manner. It is very difficult to sustain the activities performed for a longer period. This is the examples of factors. For seri, putting up files which are stored more than 7 years and considered not relevant, and replacing the files which are damaged with proper files. For seton, separate the files according to the date it was used and according to the type of files. Put tagging on the files so that anyone in the organization could identify the type of files. Next, SESO, clean the files and shelf that is being used. Cleaning the shelf and files should be done regularly. For seiketsu, make sure that there is a standard that is maintained in the work done. This standard should be able to be maintained by anyone. Lastly, it's okay. The other 4S should be taught and make it habitual to everyone in the firm. Next is pillars 2. It is a waste elimination. I already explained the meaning of waste elimination in the previous slide. Now I will explain the 7 types of waste that identified in lean management and the causes. For the first waste of transportation, put down, pick up, mistaking, don't move, or transfer the product or things could great risk of being damaged, lost, delayed, and etc. It becomes a cause that does not produce value. What causes it? It may be because of poor office layout, disorganized workplace, rural road planning, and distant supplier or customer, complicated maintenance flow, and other costs. How to fix it? You can maintain transport flows in the production process and standardize this pattern, increase digitization, decrease movement in business process, and localize moving aspects of production. Next is waste of waiting. Time is waste waiting for anything. For example, waiting for equipment to be rectified, waiting without clear agenda, machine downtime, waiting for communication from customer, waiting for clarification, and etc. The cause of it are unsynchronized processes and line balances, wrong setup, unplanned machine downtime, manpower shortage, poor allocation of labor across a project, and etc. This can be fixed by increased communication with supplier or delivery to prevent downtime, and any other action that can be taken. The third waste is waste of over-processing. Any step or process that does not add value from the client point of view. Processing beyond what is needed. A constant search for product perfection can sometimes lead to a product being over-processed. For example, a manager asks for the gross profit, but accountant goes ahead to compute the net profit. So, what can cause the waste? It may be because of unclear or poorly documented work instruction, unclear client specification, inappropriate value analysis, and excess and refinement. So, how to fix it? You can use waterfall diagram which can help companies measure the cumulative effect of frequential variables, inlining standard operating procedures to reduce overall volume of documentation and any other action. Next, waste of motion, which means unnecessary movement or excessive movement of water in the production process. Most obvious forms of waste movement involve poorly organized factories or solutions assemblies where workers need to work around the space to gather the equipment or tools to complete their tasks. Other examples are working between office to communicate with colleagues, working to printers, working back and forth between computer screens, and etc. The costs come from poor housekeeping and standardized work routine or production process, unclear flows of materials and process, and other causes. It can be fixed Example of these risks are data entry error, design flaw, any error that is passed on to the next process, and others. These risks can caused by incapable process, unclear customer specification, lack of process control, incapable supplier, and etc. What can we do to fix it? You can avoid segmenting quality control departmentally, make sure workers are appropriately trained and standardized processes are being adequately followed. Next is waste of inventory. It arises from ordering excess materials just in case they are needed. These excessive inventories often do not meet customer needs and do not accurately. Example of this waste is stock of anything such as emails, paperwork, materials, parts, and etc. Second goal relates to reduce this to improve communication and relationship between supplier to customer. Just-in-time inventory management. This waste costs apply batch sizes, KIT incapable supplier, long lead times, lack of material requisition, and material issues documents. How can you fix it? You can control overproduction and production target. Lastly is waste of overproduction, which it produces more than required. It normally arises from productions of goods based on estimated demand. For example, producing extra copies, processing order that might be changed, and etc. Kaizen goals is to improve and streamline processes so that a firm produces exactly what customer order, exactly when they order it. If possible causes are line imbalance such as poor shifting or scheduling, high capacity machine, and ineffective production planning. We can fix it by implement JIT production system and pull system in production. Last pillar is pillar 3, which is standardization. A good standard must represent the easiest, safest, and best way to do a job. Provide a basis for training, offer a basis for both improvement and maintenance, provide way to minimizing and preventing error, and make it clear about the cause and effect. There are 3 main areas that are need to be considered when developing standard. First, time, which is the duration for a job to be completed. Second, work sequence, which is the step-by-step order in which all processes of work to be done. Lastly, standard in-process stock, which is the optimal number of parts in process of any given time. This is Kaizen organizational structure or hierarchy. Kaizen organizational structure or hierarchy is the foundation on which Kaizen is implemented in a firm. All organization needs, there are different Kaizen organizational hierarchy that can be used, but the most popular is Kaizen functional structure. The fifth position is Kaizen steering committee, and that included top management, external consultant, Kaizen manager, union council, and team leader. Second position is Kaizen external consultant, which receive wider consultant training than managers and have spent most of their time advising people. Next, Kaizen manager and coordination teams help workers to be totally productive members of communities and organizations. For Kaizen coaches, they help other people to absorb knowledge from the people who has been successful in applying Kaizen. For the fifth position, Kaizen pillar expert teams, which is a group of co-dependent team members with a level of task expertise. This position is Kaizen action team, which help by action planning to develop its goals, missions, and visions. Lastly, Kaizen department and line managers at Gemba, which responsible in managing resource and employees. Next I will pass to the next presenter, Nashita.
Thank you, Najha, and my name is Nashita binti Kadir, and I would like to cover the topics on the basic steps of Kaizen principles, the steps to implement Kaizen principles, and also the applications of Kaizen principle. First, let me introduce to you guys about the basic steps of Kaizen, which consists of plan, do, check, and act. First, we go to plan. What is plan? Plan is the process of preparing the procedure to improve the business. Second is do. What is do? Do is the process of learning based on what we plan. And check. Check is to review the result compared to what we have planned. Act is to implement and to make the new system as a culture and also to improve the process of the business. Next, I would like to share with you guys the steps to implement Kaizen principle. Number 1, employees involvement. Full cooperation from the employees is very important for the business improvement. Number 2, find the problem. This is to identify the problem that arises from the department. Number 3, think and find the solution. This is to make the team think creative and also focus on the problem solving. Number 4 is implement. Implementation is the best way to test the application that have been prepared by the organization. Number 5, check. Check is to ensure the proper implementation give a proper result. Number 6, standardize. This to empower the employees to follow the new standards. Number 7, repeat. This is to make the new system and the new rules as a culture to eliminate waste and also improve the process of the business so it will be smooth. Now, I would like to continue with the applications of Kaizen principle in automotive industry such as Toyota. Toyota was founded by Sakichi Toyoda in 1930 with his motto life is open the window and there is a big world out there. Toyota is the best example because it has most systematic and the strongest management. The objective why they are applying Kaizen principle is because they need to identify and also eliminate the waste in all areas. I would like to continue with the application process of 5 S's in Toyota. Toyota adopted 5 S's to overcome the labor crisis and also to improve the efficiency of the production process. The 5 S's consist of Siri, Seton, Seiso, Shiketsu, and Shizuke. For this slide, I will explain more on Siri and Seton. Example of Siri is the red tagging is being used in the production to identify the unnecessary item. What about Seton? Example of Seton is a desk. Drawers are full with the raw material and the workers need to arrange it according to the color, type, and also size. For this slide, I would like to continue another 5 S's that apply by Toyota, which are Seiso, Shiketsu, and Shizuke. Example of Seiso, Toyota is emphasizing on daily cleaning rather than year-end cleaning. What about Shiketsu? Shiketsu is in maintaining the process of improvement and the rules is very important to develop the employee's attitude. Lastly, Shizuke. Shizuke is make it habit, makes the new rule as a habit to ensure the continued improvements. Now, I would like to proceed with my presentation with applications of Kaizen in the food industry such as Nestle. Nestle was founded by Henry Nestle in 1866 with the slogan "Good Food, Good Life." Nestle is the largest food company. The objective why Nestle adopt Kaizen principle is to not only focus on reducing waste but also maximizing their resources. I would like to continue with the application process in Nestle. Nestle is adopting lean production to focus on maximizing the resources, while lean training is to help the employees to identify the production process that need to be improved. Based on my finding, there are two assets which are Siri and also Sikesu. Example of Siri are adopting no waste attitude, which are waste can be in terms of money, time, and also resources. Just in time, the transport needs to arrive just in time to take the finished good. While Sikesu is to make the employees clear with the standard that just adopted, which are industrial standard and also commercial standard. I will proceed with my last part, which is application process of 5 assets in Hotel Rich and Garden Sakata. The hotel is applying Kaizen while preparing food. For example, Siri, inventory management, eliminating stock outage, while reducing overall levels of inventory at the same time. Saturn, placing spoon and fork according to the size, types, and colors. Seiso is clean up the kitchen and also check up the equipment to avoid any defect. Sikesu, checking the employees whether they are following the standard procedure. Lastly, Shizuke is making the changes as habit and improve it every day. Next, I will pass my presentation to Muhammad Hazif.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Hazif and I will present about the advantages and disadvantages of Kaizen costing. The advantages of Kaizen costing is improvement teamwork. Okay, Kaizen is a quality improvement tool driven by teamwork. It benefits everyone involved in the business process, and as the team solve the problem together, it will develop a bond and build a team spirit. The second one is improve efficiency. It boosts the quality of services. It helps businesses implement new process improvements, boost efficiency, and also enhance time management. And the third one is customer satisfaction. It focuses on providing better services to customers. It is a responsibility of every person in the company to make sure the product satisfies the customer needs. Good services will give satisfaction to customers. And the fourth one is reduce wastage. The wastage of time and resources can be avoided due to better time management and material management. Acknowledge problems properly. Last one. By fostering appropriate, supportive and constructive culture, it becomes easier for any team to share their problem openly, and the whole management will work together to solve the problem. So the disadvantages of Kaizen costing is it is difficult to return to previous system. It is hard to return to old management system once it is implemented, although the needs or desire arise. The second one is reluctant to change. The company reluctant to change because they think it is expensive, and the employees difficult to let go their work area and might not ready to accept new system. So the third one is a training requirement. The employees and management need training to understand and to adopt the work. It is the Kaizen costing, and it required to change the usual process of works. Also, it is required more time allotment for the training, and it may not sufficient to grasp the entire concept of Kaizen. And the last one for disadvantages is that the organization not supportive of lower level employees. The employees might come up with a good idea, but the organization not considering. and the employees might know well than the organization on how product costs can be reduced. Okay, next I will talk about the Kaizen costing, the comparison between Kaizen costing and also process re-engineering. Okay, for the first characteristic is a leader, and for Kaizen costing, the one who do work in an early year with a strong guidance by top management and a sensei is considered leader. And for business process re-engineering, the leaders are consultants, top management or project team. The second characteristic is duration. For Kaizen costing, it is a never-ending duration as every sub-process need to be improved continuously. Okay, sorry. And for BPR is a project with a beginning and ending durations. The third one is scope. Usually for Kaizen costing, it start with Kaikaku, which is a big change that address the entire value stream process, but most Kaizen focus on one sub-process. And for BPR, it is focused on the entire value stream process. Okay, so the fourth one is acceptance level, and for Kaizen costing, the level of acceptance is a low risk of things reverting back to old way, and for the BPR is there's a high risk of things reverting back to the old way. Okay, for the cost characteristic, that Kaizen costing is mostly inexpensive or free, but for BPR is often involves expensive items such as new technologies, computers and other systems. Okay, and the technology characteristic is most methods minimize for or eliminate the use of technology for the Kaizen costing, but for BPR is rely on computers and technology which had to fit the most problem of engineering. And the last characteristic is the degree of change. For Kaizen costing, the changes can be incremental but only limited to one sub-process at a time. And for the BPR can be incremental but affect an entire process. Okay, next I will talk about the challenges of Kaizen costing. Okay, Kaizen cannot be seen in a short-term project, as this emphasize long-term goals which cannot focus on the short-term goals. Okay, so Kaizen also known as continuous improvement. That's why it cannot be focused on the short-term goals. And it is easy to understand, but to master it is kind of difficult. And because of that, employees will not have a clear explanation on the Kaizen principle. The second one is where the training on Kaizen isn't provided by the employer, because Kaizen will never work if people do not implement its full suite of tools and concept. Okay, and sufficient training for employees will give the advantages to them. And the last challenges is where management does not support Kaizen initiative. Kaizen is about everyone improving everything, not just a group doing all the work. Okay, I will talk about the recommendation for Kaizen costing. Kaizen is a proven method for improvement as adopted by Toyota. However, to implement this method, it is recommended for all staff at all levels to be trained to understand Kaizen principle. Staff commitment is also required to implement this, and attitude of the staff must be positive and looking forward for the improvement, as the roadmap and strategy and long-term plan should be developed and followed in order to implement Kaizen principle for improvement successfully. So as a conclusion for this seminar, if Kaizen is adopted properly, it could bring a very positive impact towards an organization such as an increase of productivity and efficiency. Every small steps taken in Kaizen could lead to a bigger improvement in the organization in the long run. This is because Kaizen eliminates any inefficiency or waste produce that would be a loss to the organization. That's all. Thank you.